Venerable Dharma teachers and dear Dharma practitioners, today is the day we have grand opening of using the Dallas Buddhist Association new building, and to celebrate this one, we start with Buddha-Nen chanting retreat. It is a very meaningful thing. The sutra told us that the human body is rare to obtain and Buddha Dhamma is difficult to encounter. And this statement seems to be an old saying that most people have already heard. In the beginning of our practice of Buddha Dhamma, we have heard this statement, but to really understand its meaning, it is not easy. After practicing for decades of time or years, I now gradually understand the meaning and realize it has profound meaning from these two statements.
什么是人生?
These two statements teach us about human body and Buddha Dhamma. These two are two major subjects. Actually, because of the Buddha Dhamma, one can understand and realize the importance and value of human body. In Buddha Dhamma, it points out the form of life can be in 10 different existences called the 10 realms of existence. And human body is only one out of these 10 forms. Because above human forms are the celestial beings. Their life is full of pleasure and less sufferings. Therefore, they do not practice. On the other hand, the lowest realm, such as hell to hungry ghosts and animal world, full of more sufferings, less peace or time to practice. Only the human body are the most precious form of existence to practice the Buddha Dhamma. Because in the human form, there are more sufferings and less happiness, but still, human beings has capability to realize and distinguish the differences and able to awaken easier than other forms in the 10 realm of existence. According to the Chinese record or calculation of time, Buddha Sakyamuni has passed away. Until today, it's been 3,020 years. The human body and human form today are not as superior as that time in Buddha Sakyamuni's period, because vexations gets heavier and capability to practice or sensitivity to awaken up are lesser than before. However, when comparing with other forms in the 10 Dhamma realms, human beings are still the best being that is capable to awaken. And that's why Bodhisattvas talk about human body is rare and precious, and Dhamma is difficult to encounter. In this 10 realm of existence, or 10 Dhammic realms, we are now going to discuss the 4 highest realms, the 4 holy stages. Let's just talk about the 6 realms of existence still in samsara. The celestial beings in the heavenly level, they have a high moral conduct. Human beings are less immorality when compared with celestial beings. However, to obtain human body and enjoy human existence still need many lifetimes cultivation, such as observing the 5 precepts and 10 virtues. Therefore, just to obtain a human body, it is not an easy matter. So, how do we live in a valuable and meaningful life, and to make the most use of human body and human life? Let's examine ourselves carefully from the morning till night, from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Are we having more thoughts about good things or more thoughts of evils? If we have more evil thoughts, then we can easily lose the human body in next lifetime. Those beings in the hell are born there because of anger. Those beings in the hungry ghost realms are born into that existence because of their greedy mind. And those who are born into animal world are due to their confusion and lack of wisdom. These are the common causes to result in falling of life into the 3 lowest realms. We must understand and realize that. So the value of human body and human life is to fully realize how to use the human body and life to listen and practice the Buddha Dhamma in order to escape from the infinite cycle of life and death, the so-called samsara. However, to listen to the true Buddha Dhamma is very difficult. In the past, when traffic is not so convenient and science, technology are not well developed, so the Dhamma teaching and spread were limited. Today, many thousands of years later, the transportation and scientific advancement are much more favorable to promoting Buddha Dhamma. However, due to the time and due to the people, the Dhamma has been deteriorated or lowering down to a level like that of academic research or religious ceremonies or worship. So to hear the true Dhamma is not easy. In the 7 days of Buddha name chanting retreat, we're going to introduce in 6 times of Buddha Dhamma briefly, so that everyone knows how to practice Buddha Dhamma and how to obtain supreme achievement in just one lifetime. How fortunate we can obtain human body in this lifetime, and this is due to cultivations in the past lifetimes, such as observing the 5 precepts or the 10 virtues, to be able to obtain today's human body. In the Mahayana Sutras, and particularly the Infinite Life Sutra, it mentioned, because of a specious karmic connection with Buddha, it takes tremendous of merits through eons and eons and kalpas of time to worship and offering to all Buddhas. With such effort, we can now encounter with the great teaching of the Mahayana Buddhism. Otherwise, in this lifetime, we will not be able to encounter or participate the Buddha name chanting retreat, such as this one we're having now. These are the statements from the Mahayana Buddhism Sutra. And particularly, we should not be able to encounter the most profound, direct, and quick method in the Pure Land, and this is therefore a great fortune. One therefore need to cultivate harder and not to waste our life. Buddha Sakyamuni has explained his teachings for 49 years and then transmitted to China in the Sui Tang dynasty. Great Dharma scholars and Bodhisattvas, they study and sometimes categorize the sutras and try to compare and realize by all schools or sects that the number one sutra is the Sutra of the Universe, which is the essence teaching of Lord Buddha Sakyamuni. Other sutras, when compared with this sutra, is like branches or leaves. Then compare this Sutra of Universe with Infinite Life Sutra. The Infinite Life Sutra becomes number one. It is because at the end of the Universe Sutra, it directs all the merits and ultimate perfection to be born into Pure Land of Amitabha's world. With this statement and this direction, we realize that Infinite Life Sutra is number one among number ones. The Infinite Life Sutra that we study and recite today is the one that's compiled by Bodhisattva Xiaolianju. He compiled from 5 Infinite Life Sutra translated from different time in China into the most complete and perfect sutra of today. Inside this Infinite Life Sutra, there are 48 chapters. If we want to further investigate and check out the essence among the 48 sutra or 48 chapters, then we will realize chapter number 6 is the number one or the most essential among all 48 chapters. And the rest of the chapters are just explanation of chapter number 6. So we take a look of chapter number 6. It contains 48 great vows of Buddha Amitabha. Then which one is the most essential, critical vow among all 48 vows? It is vow number 18, which says, "For those who recite Amitabha's holy name for even 10 times, I will bound to welcome him to my Pure Land." This statement makes us realize why the Pure Land teachers and monks mention that Buddha Amitabha's name has inconceivable merits, because it contains the essence of all essence. So from the holy name of Amitabha expanded out becomes 48 vows. From 48 vows can be further expanded. It becomes the Sutra of Infinite Life, and it can further expand it and becomes the Universe Sutra. And if to explain this sutra completely, it becomes all the teaching of Buddha Sakyamuni in his 49 years of preaching. So, chanting Amitabha seems a very simple matter, an easy thing to do. But to fully understand its meaning, its value, and its inconceivable merits is not easy, because this is the most perfect, most direct, and most effective practice by simply chanting the holy name of Amitabha. When one sincerely practices the right method, one's life becomes meaningful and one's mind becomes settled. For me and many other practitioners of the Pure Land School, we realize all these benefits. There are many practitioners who are sincere in searching for a proper Dharma to practice or follow. For many years, they do not reach any spiritual achievement. Once they decide to settle their mind to the Pure Land method of Buddha name chanting, then their spiritual achievement will soon be realized. Before, their mind were confused or perplexed, even though in the spiritual path. Now, because fully believe in Buddha Amitabha and sincerely practicing chanting, the mind and body is now settled, and the future is full of bright light. The mind gets pure and clear, and then one will sincerely or actually detach from worldly things and other spiritual attachments. There are many examples in the Pure Land practitioners' records in the Chinese history. Those great practitioners, at their old age, they drop their practices in Zen meditation or mantra practices and practice only the Amitabha method and promote only the Pure Land method, because they realize only this is the most effective method to make the mind pure and settled. When the mind is settled in chanting, we call the person obtain the Buddha name chanting samadhi. Their mind is settled in the name of Amitabha, in the chanting of Amitabha. And also, they practice the recitation of sutra. Then the mind is settled in the sutra of Amitabha. However, the sutra of Amitabha seems very short, but very deep and profound in its meaning. That's why I encourage everyone to recite or chant the Sutra of Infinite Life, because the Infinite Life Sutra, although long and lengthy, but it's easier to understand. When the mind is settled in reciting and chanting the sutra or repeating Buddha's holy name, one's mind will begin to feel peace and tranquility, and then the true happiness will arrive. So one needs to study and sincerely believe in this method and the power of Amitabha's holy name, and practice with all your efforts, and all the benefits can then be realized. To obtain purity and peace of the mind, to enjoy the true happiness of the mind, is a very high goal that everyone are looking forward to it. But it's actually not easy to obtain in such a spiritual goal. Why? Because one cannot totally accept the fact that by chanting Amitabha's name, the spiritual achievement is there waiting for us. If you do not accept such a fact that holy name is inconceivable and has numerous merits, I will not blame you for that. Because all Buddhas in 10 directions, they all agree that believe and recite the holy name without any doubt is most difficult thing to do, because it's difficult to believe the power of Amitabha. For those who just heard once of the power of Amitabha and firmly believe and settled his mind or her mind into that name chanting and practice, that would be too easy. That is really unusual. So the usual thing is not to believe such holy name can be so great. And that's why all Buddhas said to believe in Amitabha's power and recite the holy name is inconceivable. I can give myself as an example that I do not believe full-heartedly in the beginning when I practiced Buddha Dhamma. When I was young, I practiced Buddha Dhamma following the great teacher, most venerable Zhangjia Dashi. For 3 years, this great master helped me settle a laid a strong foundation in Buddhism practice. And later on, I follow Professor Li Binnan, who is the disciple and student of the Pure Land Patriarch, most venerable Yingguang Dashi. And I follow Professor Li for 10 years. The reason I choose him is to learn how to teach Buddha Dhamma, how to explain the sutras to people. That was my goal. And actually, I learned how to teach sutra very quickly. In just a year and 3 months, I learned all the techniques of how to explain a sutra to other people. But to know the techniques is one thing, and to actually practice and have a successful result is another. It takes practice. So I practiced 10 years of spreading and teaching different sutras. With this sincerity and analogy on Buddhism, I still not fully believe in the power of Amitabha's holy name. Although I respect my teacher, Professor Li, and also occasionally chanting Amitabha's name, but my faith is not totally there. Because I understand, but I'm not fully convinced, the power of Amitabha. When I was Dhamma teacher, I was spending a lot of time in study and explaining to others about the Universe Sutra, the Surangama Sutra, the wonderful Lotus Flower Sutra, the Prajna related sutras, and consciousness-only teachings, and many traditional and interesting sutras. In 1971, I started teaching on the Universe Sutra, which is the sutra has most content in Buddhism, for 17 years at Taipei, Taiwan. At the end of that teaching, or close to the end of the teaching, I began to have a thought appear in my mind. In that sutra, it described the 2 great bodhisattvas who are almost equal to Buddha, just one step below. That's Manjushri Bodhisattva and the Universal Goodness Bodhisattvas. They are the assistants of the Dhammakaya Buddha, existing in a wonderful Buddha world called Huazhang Shijie. I wonder what kind of method do they practice? And the answer was recorded in the Universe Sutra that they too practicing Amitabha method. And I also wonder, the main character described in that Universe Sutra, the Santai Tongzi, what kind of method did he practice and turn out to be Amitabha method? So that makes me realize it must be something special or auspicious about Amitabha, his world and his method. Otherwise, these great bodhisattvas, they are just one step below Buddha's level. Probably will not practice. And now, since they all practice, and they are, regardless of their high spiritual achievement already obtained, there must be a reason behind it. So I investigate into the reasons. Then I realize the reason is to perfect Buddhahood. They choose to practice Amitabha because they already in the Huazhang universe are great Buddhas or equivalent to Buddha's level, and they can also perfect the Buddhahood. But the reason they choose Amitabha practice and Amitabha world is because at Amitabha's world and through Amitabha's blessing and practice, it is easier, it's quicker to perfect the Buddhahood and reach the ultimate enlightenment. Without a realization, I finally decided to study the 5 major sutras of the Pure Land School. And then I generate a true faith and also generate strong wish to practice and to promote the practice of Amitabha Buddhism to fellow practitioners. And only at this time I cut off or dropped the attachment to other sutras that I always love. Because only when you truly realize the value of Amitabha method, you practice, and to be born into Amitabha Pure Land with infinite life over there, you can practice all methods and learn all sutras. Right now, to be the most effective, I must set a priority to practice Amitabha and also encourage others to do so. So after I practice Amitabha method with strong faith, then I realize the great virtues and merits that my teacher, Professor Lee, has given to me by encouraging me and introduced me the value of Amitabha method. In our merit dedication prayer, there's one statement saying, "May the merits be dedicated to 4 great sources of virtues." What are these 4 great sources of virtues? Number 1 is parents. Because without parents, we were not able to have a physical form, to live in a human body form and practice. Because parents made us having this precious human body and help us grow up, that's a great virtue that we can never pay back. Second one is a source of great virtue that we should dedicate all merits to is Bodhisattva, Buddha, and all teachers who teach us the truth of life and universe, who help us develop knowledge. Therefore, their merits and blessing are equally important and valuable as our parents. And the third great source of virtue is the country or government. Without a country and government, our body will not be protected. We cannot enjoy our livelihood, whatever we practice or wherever we live. Therefore, to country we owe great merits to, and we like to return our dedication of merits to. The fourth one is a great source of virtue from all sentient beings, because one cannot survive in a society by oneself. We need all supports from all other part of society, that is all members of societies. No matter how small things, we need from other people. Therefore, that's the number 4th great source that we need to dedicate merits to. Understand this one, and we sincerely want to return our sincerity, and gratefulness too. But how do we do it effectively? I think the answer is to study and practice and promote the Pure Land's teachings. Make everyone realize and practice Amitabha method. Make everyone eventually obtain the true benefits of such practice. And then you are truly return your merit, the kindness from those great four sources. When I first left home, became a monk, the very first year I start teaching sutras. I teach students in the Buddhism's academy or school. Since that time till now, it's like a dream. The time flies so fast. I'm already an old age person. And my original desire to promote Buddhism and teach the sutra, that vow still remain the same, actually become stronger. But how do I help people more? I now decided that I should practicing Amitabha method and promote the related sutra to Amitabha Buddhism. That will be the most effective way to help all people. In 1917, there's a great Buddhism scholar by the name of Ouyang Jingwu. He gave a lecture in Nanjing, mainland China, 1917. The subject of his lecture was Buddhism is not religious, it is not a philosophy, but is a must for today's world. He was one of those who has the foresight and knowledge to point out the true value of Buddha Dharma. The number 13 patriarch of Pure Land, Most Venerable Yingguang Dashi, in 1939, he conducted a Dharma assembly meeting called Protecting the Country and Eradicate Disasters. In that Dharma meeting, he gave about 6 days of lecture to help people and help country. By protecting the country, by eradicate the root causes to all natural disasters. And he pointed out 3 things if everyone can do, the country will be protected and disasters will be eliminated. Number 1 is to be a vegetarian and not eating meat. Number 2, to abstain from killing of all lives. Number 3, to recite and practicing Amitabha name chanting. Today the world has changed. The technology has advanced tremendously. So we are not just interested in our own country, but are all interested in the global well-being. We also like to have the world in peace and disasters of the universe of the world be eliminated. And how do we achieve that supreme goal to help all beings on this globe or earth? The answer is still the same. Be vegetarian, number 1. Abstain from killing, number 2. And recite Amitabha's holy name, number 3. As a Pure Land student and disciple, we should also research, study, and become familiar with the 5 major sutra of this school and the 1 main discussion, and also introduce this 5 sutra and 1 main discussion to people around us and eventually to all people in the world. This is my expectation to the Amitabha Society members. About 10 years ago, due to the efforts of Mr. Ge, Mr. Zhao, Mr. Zhuang, and Mr. Ding, and these old members together established the Dallas Buddhist Association. In 1983, Dr. C.D. Sam invited me to the United States to spread the Buddha Dharma. And through the introduce of Mr. Xia Jingshan, I then get acquainted with all these old members. These years, since 1983, many Dharma practitioners and friends here, due to your efforts, sincerity, we can put the effort together to have today's so-called achievement to a certain level. And particularly the Dharma name chanting retreat is even more auspicious, and the reason was given before in the early of tonight. The Dharma place, like we have now, still have rooms for improvements. I wish everyone will tolerate those inconvenient places and try to make a better improvement so that this place will become the number one Amitabha center in this country, United States, and then to be used as the first foundation to spread around to other part of this country. This is my expectation, and it takes everyone's joint effort to achieve that goal. The Huazhang Library Han Guanzhang came from Taipei together with Dharma practitioners to support this Dallas Buddhist Association so that we can feel prosperities around this place. In the meantime, Mr. Ge Guangming was elected or chosen to become the leader of the Buddha Light Association in Dallas. So now we can say for sure the Buddha light is shining to Dallas, and Buddha Dharma will become more prosperous. That will make all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas happy, and all celestial beings to support us in practicing Buddha Dharma. This is not just an ordinary compliment. This is the fact, because if all human beings wake up to do good things and renounce the evils, and all follow the Buddha's examples, because Buddha means enlightenment, means wisdom, which I'll explain in detail tomorrow night. By following enlightenment and wisdom, all the Dharma protectors, celestial beings will be happy, and they will come naturally to protect us in this place. The first day on the Dharma Assembly meeting today, I also want to make some additional reports. We have different representatives coming from Taipei Huayuan Library, and because the center over there was a lot smaller than here, and usually we have people attending the Dharma meeting double the number over here. And maybe because of that reason, our leading monk conducting the ceremony used to go between the chairs, taking the shortcuts, now get lost in such a huge space. He still follow the old pattern of walking and chanting, and that's because he's used to leading a lot of people in a small place. Now, with such a huge place, I suggest and strongly recommend we should take the space and making a big circle without cutting short. Additionally, the nun or monk responsible for the incense burner and Buddha statue should do things properly and make sure everything is lined up in a perfect order and condition so that the place will look very beautiful spiritually. And I also apologize to those guests coming from Hong Kong or Taiwan from such a long distance. We may not have enough place for everyone to live comfortably in the dormitory, but I do encourage you, if you like this place, you want to settle down, you can consider buying apartment or houses in this neighborhood, because I always had a dream to establish Amitabha village, and I've been thinking about that for over 10 years. Now I think this is a good place for you to consider. If you want to retire and enjoy your retirement life over here, you can buy the house because it's very cheap and forms Amitabha village. As far as myself is concerned, I'm not so fortunate as you folks, because I have to traveling around from country to country to deliver books and explain, because just by books people may not understand and definitely not convinced. I have to give lectures, explain, to make people generate a true faith in Amitabha practice. I'm going to Taiwan for 6 days and teach over there. Following that one, I'm going to fly to Singapore for 1 month and Malaysia and many other places. And then to talk to all people about becoming a vegetarian, abstaining from killing, and reciting Amitabha's name. Although I will be traveling around, not able to enjoy the peace of enjoying chanting Buddha name as you folks over here, but this is a necessary Dharma work, and it's my personal mission I have to continue. And for those who are able to stay here, enjoy your time to chant Amitabha name, I wish you do a good job.